Hi there, Tom here with a quick demonstration of Swimm. So first of all, what is Swimm for? Swimm helps teams deal with problems that have to do with knowledge that relates to the code itself. So what kind of problems, what kind of challenges? Either drowning in complex code, making it hard for teams to increase their velocity, having to parts of the code that are hard to understand and work with, knowledge silos that might create bottlenecks, that might slow you down because some people have left and taken their knowledge with them, or cross-team collaboration that is hard to do when people from one team don't know the code of the other team well. And of course, onboarding new developers, which can take months to achieve until a time where these new developers are fully independent and can work on the code without help and without making any big mistakes. So our solution for this is documentation, but not documentation like you're used to. With Swimm, you create documentation that is highly coupled with the code itself. It remains up to date when the code changes, and it is easily accessible from your IDE when you need it. So what does this documentation look like? So with Swimm, you create documents that are coupled with the code. That means that if you have a document, it doesn't only have text like you're used to, like this document is about how we do end-to-end testing here at Swimm. It also has code snippets from our code itself, from our own code. So you can see text, you can see screenshots, stuff that you're used to with documentation tools, but also parts of your code. It could be entire lines of code, one or several. It could be specific elements, tokens from the code itself, names, values, and it can also be paths to folders or files from your code base. For instance, this is a document about our front-end structure, and you can see some paths to specific folders that correlate with components in our own code. So these documents might look great, but how do you keep them up to date with all these code parts in the documents? They must get outdated pretty quickly, right? So the way that Swimm helps to keep documentation up to date is by integrating into the CI. So we have a GitHub app, and each time you make a pull request, Swimm's GitHub app goes over all of the documents and all of the changes in the code in this particular branch that you want to push, and it checks which documents remain up to date with the changes in the code and which documents are now broken or outdated because of the changes in that code. Now we want to keep those documents up to date to bring them back to their original freshness, but we want that to be as quick as possible. So let's see how we automate a lot of that process with an example. This is a document about adding a new configuration setting to a particular Python project. And there's a part here that shows how an internal schema for the configuration value looks like. And they used a particular example from their code, but the code relating to this part of the document had several changes. We automatically made the necessary changes in the document. I could have accepted all these changes from the GitHub app, but let me just show you what those are and accept them manually here for the demo. So you can see version was added to the schema, the default value change. The line numbers are different because some code was added here, and the file name change. This alone could have been pretty annoying, right? So we automatically made all these changes also to parts of the code that were